The reason I wanted to write a book specifically around my journey and be honest is because I think a lot of entrepreneurs aren't honest.
Nick, thank you so much for joining CEO Wise.
Absolute pleasure.
I
Thanks
really
for having
appreciate
me.
it.
Oh, awesome.
Now, you started Nick Harry by selling socks online, and then you started getting, after a while, you got physical stores. And, people tend to think, I followed your journey, which you can read in your book, which we'll get onto later. But people think they see this and they think overnight success, which couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah.
It's been quite a journey for you. Take me through some of those moments.
Specifically with Nick Harry, it's actually incredibly nearly 6 years. In November 2018, it will be 6 years that we've been building this overnight success.
Exactly.
My career, I started building businesses when I was 16 at school. It was the first business I built. I didn't really realize a passion for it until I was in my late teens, so like 18, 19.
Yeah.
And that was a band that I started. And then again at university, the band, then a student newspaper online thing. I started blogging around that time in 2001, 2, 3, around there, when WordPress came out in 2003. And I've just built businesses back to back to back to back from the age of 18 all the way through to now 34.
Yeah.
And the first 8 were flat out failures, like back to back failures. So yeah, that's my business building career so far.
Yeah. And what were your first pair of socks that you sold?
The first pair that's beautifully positioned was the barbershop. And it's actually, I imagine it's the pair you're wearing, yes.
Here we go.
So this is actually like our trademark sock.
Yeah.
This was the first one I designed. It's the one we're known for the most. It's the one people keep coming back to. We've also translated it into a t-shirt and a whole bunch of other things. That was the very first sock.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, you wrote a book, Do, Fail, Learn, Repeat.
That's it.
Which I thought was pretty awesome.
Thank you.
But I've never read a book that is so brutally honest about entrepreneurship. First of all, what inspired you to write it? But was that your goal right from the beginning, just to be totally brutally honest?
The reason I wanted to write a book specifically around my journey and be honest is because I think a lot of entrepreneurs aren't honest. You think it's cool to lie. You think it's cool to curate your life. And we live in a world where Instagram and Twitter and Facebook make you feel like you need likes.
Yes.
Well, I want someone to like it when I'm having a bad day to make me feel better. And I want to talk about the bad day because there are lots of bad days.
Sure.
And for me, in fact, there are probably more bad days than good days, but the goods are so good that you keep going. It's like golf. They say that you hit one good ball and you come back forever.
Exactly.
That's how it feels with entrepreneurship. You have one good day and you strive for that every day. But we don't talk about the bad days. I'm tired of reading books from entrepreneurs who've made billions of dollars and then they talk about their failures. Well, I don't believe you now because you're so far removed from me. You're Richard Branson.
Yeah.
You didn't fail, and it's so far removed. He knows he failed, like he feels it.
Yes.
But to me, it's just too far removed. So I wanted to write a book while I'm still failing about failure.
Okay. And you talk about the imposter phenomenon.
Yeah.
And where I think most entrepreneurs feel the same way, where you just think that you're not good enough and you just think you're a failure and everyone's better than you. How do we get over that fear? Yeah,
there's something very specific that always triggers the feeling in me. And I'm going to look directly at the camera and say, if you feel this, if I'm scratching just below the surface and I'm going to discover that you're a fraud, that's imposter phenomenon. Okay. That if someone just scratches below the surface, they'll know that you're a fake. That always makes me feel like anxious because I constantly feel like I don't know what I'm doing. And I wanted to be honest about that and help people know that there is actually a phenomenon. It's also a syndrome, depends on how you look at it.
Sure, yeah.
I prefer to call it a phenomenon because I feel like it pushes me to be better, that feeling of inadequacy. So if I don't know what I'm talking about, I should go and learn. And so that's what I've done. I've gone and learned more than I needed to so that I don't feel like an imposter. Yeah.
You write that failure is not the opposite of success. Yeah. Not trying is the opposite of success. And I think so many times that whether you're starting, you just want to take that leap to start the journey, or you're in the journey and you don't want to take on tech to change your business, what have you. I think I think everyone is scared at certain times now. That's something that we have to get over. I mean, that's what you learned along the way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to tell people to reframe the way that you look at failure. Right now, we look at failure as an end point, something that stops and it is no more.
Yeah.
And I want people to start looking at failure as a through point, something you get through to learn a lesson and then do it again better. If you look at it as an end point, you're never going to start. If you look at it as a point you have to get through, then why wouldn't you start? I need to get through the failure to go and do something better.
Sure.
And that's the framework I'm trying to put in people's way. The word that I'm coining is failability.
Okay.
I want you to improve your ability to fail. If you aren't resistant to failure, probably because you've never failed, you should be pushing towards failure so you get better at it, and you need to increase your ability to fail, your failability.
And that's the only way you learn.
It's exactly what the book is about.
Yeah. You said it's best to live in the forefront of incompetence. What do you mean by that?
So that's a talk I did a couple of years ago, and it plays so beautifully into the book. For me, living at the forefront of incompetence is living in a position where you never know the most. You're not an expert.
Okay.
And there's this interesting graph that as soon as you start to learn stuff, you realize that you don't know enough and you need to learn more. So there are only a finite number of experts in a field. And if you think you're an expert, you probably aren't.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by living at the forefront of incompetence is the smartest people I know are never comfortable. If you're comfortable, you're dead. The smartest people I know are going, oh, I don't know enough. Let me go and learn more. And if you feel like you're incompetent, you're most likely going to go and learn more.
I've got a new business coach, Craig Rodney, and I had a session with him yesterday. And he said that what I need to do is phone all the clients that didn't go ahead with our proposal and just find out, as a courtesy call, why they didn't, so I can adapt and change my strategy, perhaps. And you did that in the beginning with Nick Harry, where you set up, I think it was a location in Woodstock, a collection point, and then you would chat to your customers and find out why they purchased, what made them purchase. How helpful was that?
The human touch in our business has been so imperative. Nick Harry, we decided to put the customer at the center of our company. So everything we do is about having the best customer service, the best product for our customers, giving them the best value for money. And Craig's absolutely right. And the reason I think he's right is what most people misunderstand is the number one way to fund your business is selling.
Yeah.
You just need to sell more.
Of course.
Just sell more. If you think, I need more funding because I'm not making sales, maybe you're not making sales for a reason.
Yeah.
And you need to look at your selling methodology or your product or your customer audience. That's how you make more money in your business, is through selling. So for us, the human touch of just getting involved in our customers and building a real community that adore us and our brand has been invaluable.
Yeah. Well, I remember Rich Mulholland told me once that, last year, he said that if you want to get to, say, from 200K to 500K, just sell more. But if you want to get from 200K to 500 million, or 5 million, that's when you need to actually change your strategy. It's not as simple as just selling more.
Absolutely. And in e-commerce, the numbers are so similar to that thinking that it's way easier. It's almost 3 times easier, I think, to sell to someone who's already a customer of yours than to acquire a new customer.
Yeah.
What does that talk to for me? Customer service.
Absolutely.
Keep your customers happy. Engage with them. Treat them like people. And in South Africa, we struggle with that so much. Everyone keeps saying to me, what's a unique selling proposition in South Africa? My answer, good customer service. Because no one is giving good customer service. Just be better to your customers and they'll come back.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've had my business, Draft and Tractor, for 16 years now. And I've often thought that I want to rebrand. And I'm always too scared to know clients are not going to know who I am. I'll lose clients, what have you. But you mentioned also in your book, when you spoke to Luke, when he changed City Mob to Superbulous, that no one really cares. And Rich also said that on a podcast or on his vlog last week as well, that no one cares. You care more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Now, what was the process of you going from Nick Socks to Nick Harry?
So we launched nicksocks.com when we started, and then wanted to rebrand and broaden our product offering options because competitors in the market had started with socks but wanted to move into other products and couldn't because the word socks was in their name. So we decided we're only a year old, let's just get done with this.
Yes.
The other thing we realized is that we were pricing our products too cheaply at the same time. So within the space of one day, we changed our name and increased our product by double. And the reason we did that was to increase our margins and help us survive as a business. And the branding, it gave us a more broad spectrum to include t-shirts, underwear, and a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah.
And so I spoke to Luke and he was like, listen, the best advice I ever got was just do it. No one cares.
Yeah.
And as he said it, I was like, obviously, no one cares.
No one cares.
And what they care about is good products at a good price with good service.
Yeah.
And if you give them that, they're still going to find you. And the way in the world of Google, we still dominate search terms for bamboo socks and socks in Cape Town, whether we're Nick Harry or Nick Socks.
Yeah.
Same domain, same value. We just changed the brand. So we shifted over and we didn't lose a single sale. We didn't have a single complaint. We had 3,000 customers and not a single one said a word.